This video, we're going to talk about the latest comments made by US President-elect and very similar comments made by Russian President Vladimir Putin about nuclear weapons on the world stage. We're going to talk about the repercussions of these comments and also the current situation, ugly diplomatic situation between Russia and the United States. Now, just moments ago, Donald Trump has tweeted, quote, "The United States must greatly strengthen and expand its nuclear capability until such time as the world comes to its senses regarding nukes." Now, many people are pointing to that last bit in that statement, saying the world comes to its senses, pointing that it was an external factor, an external force that made him come to this conclusion and justifies the expansion of nuclear capability by the United States. Now, these statements by Donald Trump came right after Vladimir Putin made very similar statements after meeting with his defense ministers. Vladimir Putin said that he would expand not only his military capabilities, but also his nuclear capabilities. Donald Trump then met with his foreign policy advisors and then sent out that tweet. As we know, Donald Trump does believe that the Russians have more capabilities than the United States does when it comes to nuclear weapons, and the Russians have been modernizing and expanding their military. Many military experts are saying that Russians were using the current conflict in Syria as a live fire training drill, and even the Russians admitted themselves that they were able to test 162 new modern armaments because of the Syrian conflict. The Russians have launched 71,000 strikes in Syria, killing 35,000 rebels and radical Islamic terrorists who are going after Bashar al-Assad inside of Syria. The Russians have also publicly said that they have successfully tested a missile that could cripple U.S. satellites. Now, why did the Russians come out publicly with this? Why are they posturing so strongly with their military and their capabilities against the United States right now? Well, of course, Barack Obama and this current establishment and administration is not helping the situation. As we know, right before Barack Obama went on vacation, he vows retaliation against the Russians for allegedly hacking the U.S. elections. Now, as we know, the Russians came back with a response saying, you know what, show us the evidence. Shut up or show us and prove what you're saying. But if you're really in tune with what's happening around globally, especially with foreign policy all around the world, you would understand that everyone spies on everybody. The United States, including Barack Obama, spies on Angela Merkel. The Germans spy on the United States. The Russians spy on Germans spy on them. The Chinese spy on everybody. It's a whole new cyber warfare that we're dealing with. And we're seeing a soft kind of war being engaged even with allies online digitally, because information is key in war, in conflict, in foreign policy. The more you know, the better you're off in making decisions, and that's why governments spy and hack each other all the freaking time. So this is nothing new. But the United States came back and issued more new sanctions against Russia. Sanctions that have been crippling the Russian economy and the rupee. And the Russians are, of course, very angered by that. And because of that, the Russians are saying that they are freezing off any ties with the United States and keeping communication at a bare minimum. We're getting reports that nearly all levels of dialogue with the United States have been frozen from the Kremlin spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov. This is what they're saying publicly. They're saying, we no longer want to talk to you. Obviously, many diplomats from the United States in the United Nations have been pointing their finger at Russia for human rights violations inside of Syria. But what we're seeing is even our strongest ally in the region, one of the strongest, Turkey, who is a part of NATO, turn their back on Obama and the United States and have aligned themselves with Russia. And we have seen Turkey just launch an offensive inside of Syria that killed over 1,000 terrorists when they went after ISIS. Again, you have to understand the previous situation was the United States with Turkey financing, funding, supplying, aiding ISIS and radical Islamic terrorists inside of Syria. And now the Turks have turned around that policy and they're with the Russians to get rid of those rebels and to decide the future of the Middle East, the future of Syria with Russia, with Iran. And we're seeing the United States being excluded from this major decision as we're speaking right now. The Russians, Iranians, and Turkish government forces are sitting down at the table deciding what happens next, while the horrible U.S. foreign policies that escalated this conflict in grand proportions, with so many people saying actually created this horrible situation inside of Syria, they're excluded. They're no longer treated as even worthy to talk to. Trump's statements are extremely important, and so are Vladimir Putin. Will this situation calm down when Donald Trump takes office? We will only see. And to get that news, stay here, subscribe to this YouTube channel. You got to hit the bell button because of YouTube's stupid algorithm now. But subscribe to this YouTube channel. We're going to be up to date on the latest foreign policy news, keeping you in the know of what's happening all around the world. And we can only do that because we are beholden to you, because we are financed by you on resources like patreon.com/WeAreChange. Consider making a donation, consider being a contributor, and consider voting with your dollar, spreading information and news that the people need to hear, not this other bullcrap garbage where they're talking about airplanes and getting kicked off airplanes and all this other malarkey bull hooey that has no relevant care in your existence. These two super global world powers talking about expanding their nuclear capabilities. Yeah, that's news.